from the red team, fighting out of Lakemba, New South Wales, Adrian Mouhajer. This person is 26 years of age. Adrian is a sales support assistant, and she is dedicating this to her family and friends, especially Mariam. This one's for you. Fighting out of Lakemba, New South Wales, Adrian from the area, Mouhajer.
I'm Adrian. I'm a Libra, which means I'm indecisive and flirty. I identify as non-binary, so I identify as gender fluid, to be more specific. So I don't really feel boxed into either category, kind of exist outside the binary. I grew up in Lakemba basically. I was born and raised in Lakemba. I think growing up in Lakemba with a Muslim family, it's everyone in the neighborhood kind of knew my dad. I always felt really seen, and I kind of didn't like that. It never really felt like I could do pretty much anything I wanted, because I always thought it would go back to him and mum. When I was a kid, I used to get made fun of a lot because I look like this and I sound like this. And I used to get called tomboy a lot, and I hated it. I hated being called tomboy. I hated that I couldn't play with the boys, but I also hated that the boys made fun of me when I did play with them. And I hated that the girls treated me like a boy, but then also I was supposed to be hanging out with them, so I never really knew where I belonged. When I was a kid, religion wasn't comforting to me, and when it was comforting, it meant that I had to kind of disregard part of my identity to make it comforting. I had to forget that I was gay, basically. So, when I was growing up, and because I was in a religious school, what we were taught is that homosexuality wasn't permitted in Islam. I'd hear Prophet Lut again and again and again. I remember telling my mama that I was getting sick of eating your cabanea, even though I knew you'd spend hours upon hours making up the Eid feast with your arthritic fingers. I was rude. I'd tell her, yours is so much better. As a child, I would skip over the fasulia at the table, avoid the Mouhajer, claiming the texture was off-putting. I would even turn my nose up at your tabbouleh, choosing instead to lose myself in digital text and generic complaints about spending time with the family. You never said a bad word about me. Still praised me like I was the perfect child, and in your eyes, I think all your grandchildren were, even me. I remember your hair and how I loved that it was short like mine. I remember how I would annoy you when I would press my mouth up against your cheeks and pretend to bite down. You would laugh, push me away playfully before cursing at me, "Khalas ante." When you were here, I never got to communicate what you meant to me. There was a barrier between us made up of words that I could not bother to learn and time I was unwilling to spend. But I swear I loved you. Your memory never leaves me. I remember you in the smells of my mother's food, and I remember you in the rosy complexion in your son's cheeks, in the length of my hair, and the way your husband still slips my sister her monthly allowance away from my mother's eye. Remembering you is living, but the scent of formaldehyde lingers in your street. I miss you, Taita. I'm sorry for the time I did not spend with you. I'm sorry for the cabanea I wasted in my youth. But I hope I make up for it with the prayers I send to you and the time I spend remembering you. I think I did internalize a lot of the stuff on media that tells you that your parents are going to kill you as soon as you come out. I built up a lot of fear in my head around my dad and my brother. I thought for some reason they would honor kill me, but if you've ever met my brother and my dad, they're not those kind of people. So I left my parents a note when I ran away from home at 18. That's how I came out to them. I poured all my heart into that letter. I told them how much it hurt me to live in the same house as them and not be able to tell them these things, and that I knew that I was angry all the time, but it wasn't because of anything they were doing. It was because of this thing that was inside of me that I couldn't share with them. My brother, he talked to me on the phone and he said, I took that letter, I didn't tell your parents, that's my secret to bear, and you're still my sister, I have 4 other siblings, and my older sister stopped speaking to me when I came out, and then my older sister was okay with it but not great, and my little sister kind of was still processing because she was younger, but my brother kind of gathered them all together and was we need to apologize to Adrian because they were suffering all this time and we didn't notice. And that wasn't what the media showed me. Media said that my brother would kill me. and he didn't. he was actually the only one who understood that it was really painful for me to lie to them. He was the fixer in the family, and he wanted to fix whatever was wrong. So he actually helped me kind of talk to my parents. Like, he ended up coaxing me back to sit down and have more of a dialogue with them. And like my dad, you know, again, he surprised me. He wasn't angry, he was crying, and it was the first time I'd ever seen him cry. And he was telling me, I've always like known that you were a bit different. I just, you know, I've always been dropping hints, you know, that Muslim gays may exist, but you know, as long as you stick to the deen and as long as you don't act on it, you can still be okay. And that was like, it was good, but it was also not great, you know? It wasn't always like, but it was better than I expected.
Oh, nice body kick on Mia.
Adrian tries to respond now.
Oh, very nice trip. Full mount by Adrian.
Well, we've seen that tonight, people getting to mount quite easily. Let's see.
So when I graduated from high school and kind of went into university, I thought, oh, maybe I'm like a trans guy. The more I thought of being a man, the more I was like, I don't think I'm that. Like, I don't think I want to be a man. I've never really wanted to be a man. The only time I've ever wanted to be a man is when I thought that that was the only way to do what I wanted and be halal, basically. If you remove the religion part of it, I don't want to be a boy. Like, I don't feel comfortable being, you know, referred to, you know, as like a cisgender person, but I don't feel comfortable being referred to as a trans man either. So I found non-binary in university, and I found they, them pronouns, and I was like, oh my God, I really like this. Like, I love being referred to as neither, basically, because that's how I've always kind of felt. I've never really been comfortable being gendered by like the public. Non-binary felt the most comfortable. Gender fluid felt the most comfortable because I'm very fluid. I used to spend a lot of time in like white suburbs, like, you know, for example, like Newtown in the day. So in terms of dealing with the whiteness, for a long time, I thought I had to deal with it because I was queer. And then I realized that I could meet other queers who weren't white, and they hung out in like other suburbs, but just not in the same places. Like, we wouldn't go to Holden Street in the Kembar, but we'd go to like Chocolata in Burwood or something. And it would be closer to home and more comfortable, but I wouldn't have to deal with, you know, the whiteness, basically, and the violence of whiteness.
She just doesn't have the right foot locked behind her left knee. No, it's just not tight enough.
Oh, that's it. Oh, it is.
It's
Oh, wow. She's managed to cut the corner there.
By triangle choke, your winner from the red corner, Adrian from the area, Mouhajer.
When I got older and I saw the way that my friends started approaching the religion, they actually started accepting me more and realized that like our relationship with like Allah is like a lot more individualistic than is taught. And in terms of Islam, my relationship with it is a lot more comforting these days because I've made it my own. Like, for example, with religion, if I'm just sitting here going, oh God, I'm gonna go to hell, like, there's no point indulging it. There's no point sitting there and diving really deep into that, you know, self-loathing, because that's what people want you to do. They want you to sit here and doubt yourself. Like, I fast all of Ramadan. I'll pray sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I still have a complicated relationship with God, but at the end of the day, it's my relationship with Him. And I still believe in Him, and I still believe in His angels and His messenger. So I don't want to let go of my faith because somebody else says, you can't be this and this. I think I can be both. And in the garden, you smile at me warmly, and you reach for my hand, and you squeeze it above the table, and it doesn't cost me anything. You use your other hand to sip tea, and we all converse together, and you ask her how to cook my favourite dish so that you'll know how to take care of me when we're both older. I brag about your intellectual prowess. I call you Muhammad, and how well-travelled you are. And my mother treats you as well as a son, but you are far more beautiful than any one of them. Underneath the vine leaves, we'll talk about how we'll pick them together, and I watch my mother's fingers deftly wrap them, the thinnest wara'anib you've ever seen, and we indulge in our shared awe. I am content, and I am happy. You are loved and adored. And even if this garden isn't real, and even if the illusion falls away, and even if my mother doesn't look your way, you're always adored. My entire life experience up to this point, if I could take away one thing from it, it's just that I spent so much time trying to please other people, trying to be the best girlfriend, the best daughter, the best son, the best friend, and I never thought about being the best me, and that's all I want to be now. Like, I wish I realized that I didn't have to keep excusing bad behavior from people just because they accepted me as gay. I wish I knew that if I just accepted myself as gay, and if I just went to therapy and helped myself like kind of come to those terms, I would have actually been way better off than what I was trying to do, where I was trying to make other people make me feel like I belonged. Like, no one can make you feel like you belong. You're the only one who can like allow yourself to feel like that. So nowadays, the reason that I can interact with my family better and I can interact with other people better is that I have a very strong sense of self. Like, I know who I am now, and I know who I'm not and who I want to be. And I wish I knew that when I was younger, and I wish I knew that was the most important thing. And the important thing wasn't finding a way to get my parents to completely accept me and finding a way to get my girlfriend to be the best girlfriend she had to be, and get her to fully accept me as well. Like, it wasn't about them, it was always about me.